Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. And you've guessed it, we're playing with another 2026 in colour that's just launched. If you've been following me, you'll know that I've already done a couple of these, so I'm kind of doing them in alphabetical order. So we've already done Barely Blush, and we've already done Crisp Cantaloupe. So today it's the turn of Golden Glow. Now I think this one's going to be one of my favourites, partly because it reminds me a little of Wild Wheat that retired a couple of the year before, last year, not this year, last year. And it's going to be a bit of a Marmite colour, I think, but like I say, I'm quite excited to work with this colour. So it's Golden Glow. We've got two more to go. We've got Hydrangea Hue and Peaceful Pine to come, but today it's Golden Glow's turn. Okay, so we're going to be making a version of this card, but obviously we'll swap it out. So products featured today are going to be phrases and frames. So we've got the Nice Sentiment and these gorgeous frames, which are humongous and have like embossing elements to them, and boutique blossoms. Okay, so there's lovely what are these called, distinctive stamps, two-step stamping, and some nice coordinating dies with that as well. So Golden Glow, just for a bit of a comparison, here we go. Here's Golden Glow. So it is a really muted sort of dark brownish yellow, and to compare that with Crushed Curry and Darling Duckling just there, but I've also brought in Crumb Cake and Pecan Pie there, so it's got that sort of brownish hue to it. But I think this is going to be one of those colours that's just going to work so well with lots of things. So what I did was I pulled out some things, and I thought, okay, yummy, with our nice dark blue there, Night of Navy, earthy tones with Early Espresso, very regal looking with Shaded Spruce, Christmassy with Cherry Cobbler, of course gorgeous with Blackberry Bliss. Okay, mute it down with some greys. Okay, so it's going to work really well with all of those colours. Right, I'm going to have to stick all these back in on here. Still got my Stampin' storage right in front of me, so I'm just going to pop those away off my desk because I don't have a huge desk, so I need those out of my way. Today we're going to team it with Pretty Peacock. Gorgeous. So basically this is going to work well with all the regals and the neutrals, and I reckon it'll still, oh yeah, it's just going to be one of them colours. I just love it. Okay, so as you can see, this is what we're aiming for today. We're going to do our two-step stamping, bit of foliage, but we're swapping it out for the pecan. We've got a bit of heat embossing on there, and you will see on here I've already done a bit of cutting already to save some time. So I've already cut one of these frames, and you can see that this fills the card, so we'll use it as is to on the card today rather than cutting it down. But you can see on the sample I have reduced the size of that. Now this was a complete and utter faff when I was doing it, and on the way home I realised in my head that there was probably an easier way to do it. So we pop those to one side for a second, and I'll just bring in this other one. So this is how it starts out life. Okay, so you have to just bear with me because it will be pinging everywhere. But if you snip it along the straight edges, you can actually shift that across and actually make it narrower and continue the pattern. So you can make that as skinny as you like, and then if you want to cut out some sections, you could probably make it even skinnier. So you could probably cut off some extra bits and make a really skinny panel. And if you can imagine doing the same thing on the long side, you can imagine that you can just bring this up and make a smaller frame that way as well. So that's my tip to you. So I did a similar thing with the beautiful gallery blooms frame. That was easier to cut on the corners and just sort of shovel it around a bit. This one, cut on the long sides, the straight sides, and then you'll be able to shrink it and squash it as much as you want. That's cool, right? And I think it's probably easier to see on this one, but I actually used the impressions mat to get the embossed detail on this one. Excuse me. I always sneeze when I'm filming. So you can do that, or you can leave it plain, so it still makes an indentation, okay, but it's a sort of flatter look. With the impressions mat, you can get that more textured look. We're going to leave it today. I think there's enough going on today, but we'll do that another time. So let's pop these all out of the way, okay, and let's move on with this. So let's pop this cardstock off to one side for a moment. We're going to need to do, I want to tone this in with the background a little bit. So we're going to use our ink with some magnetic cases, okay, so I like to sort of flip it over and then pop it on top. That's kind of how I feel like I'm doing it these days. They are a felt pad now instead of a foam pad, and of course, because they're new, they're going to be really packed with ink. So just taking off some of that, and you can see how far I've got with it. Look, cool, right? And just add a little bit of this, so it's going to be tone on tone with my background card. I might go a little bit heavier in some places just to give it a bit of texture here and there. Okay, so that's going to give it, make it less sort of stark, shall we say. I might do a little bit more on the edge actually. That looks a little bit white still. Sometimes you don't know till you've put it on your project. So just build that up. And until it's the colour you want, I think that will do. Okay. Yeah, let's just pop that over there just for a second. Don't want to stick my fingers in it. So we'll just apply this to the card with a little bit of glue now, and I'm only going around the inside edge, not going to go mad with glue. You don't need loads. Okay. Don't forget to check out the website, Stampin' Up website. The links will be in the description. Right at the bottom there'll be a product list of everything that I've used, and then from there you could kind of browse the rest of the store, but don't forget to check out the offers that are on at the moment. We've got a join-in offer, so if you are not already a demonstrator, you can join, or you can contact your own demonstrator and get some details off them, because if you join during May, you can add the whole set of those ink pads worth about £63, the whole set for free in your starter kit. Okay, so that's really exciting. Or you can choose to have some extra product if you don't want those. So that's our base of our card. We need to create our flowers next. Where can I put this where I'm not going to stick? Okay. Let's just going to bring in a scrap. This happens to be basic white. It could be white willow. And with the boutique blooms, you've got outline dyes and you've got the solid colours. So we're going to use the Golden Glow ink here, and we're going to stamp our flowers. actually thinking I might do 2 of these smaller ones. And then we'll do 1 of the big ones. So light tapping and walking along the ink pad is what is recommended. I'm going to need some more cardstock. Probably should have started with a bigger piece, but I thought I was going to use just one of those smaller flowers, but I've changed my mind because I can. Let's pop those out of the way, and then we've got the solid stamps now that we can do our colouring with. So with the distinctives, usually a juicy ink pad is not really what you want. Okay, so I should bring that into shot. So I'm just going to ink this up, twist, turn it and stamp up and down the ink pad. Sorry, tap all along the ink pad to get a nice coating of that ink, but that might be a bit too juicy, shall we say. Let's just stamp it here, just because I've got this scrap. It's not going to come out great. Okay, so what I would recommend is getting it inked and taking off that first layer of ink. Let's just try it again. Oh, that didn't stamp off properly, but yeah. And that's going to give us hopefully a bit of a better image. Still not quite there. It is difficult with a juicy pad sometimes. So what I think I'm going to do, so here's a tip for you. If you apply the ink, or almost take it off in this case, with a blending brush, you can get better results. So let's just try that on the back of here. Yeah, so that's much better in terms of the look that I want. So let's do that. So yeah, if you're struggling with these 2-step stamps that look what we call distinctive stamps, with the extra bits and pieces on that make it look like it's watercoloured or whatever, try this, adding it with a brush, and this will give you a less blotchy look. So you've got to kind of get your head over the top of that now, which is a little tricky with you guys just sat there, so forgive me if this is off slightly. That looks about right. Nice firm pressure on that. There we go. Alright, and then we shall, in fact, let me just cut that so that I know which one what I'm doing. There we go. That's that one's to cut out. Oh no, I don't need that one. Oh, pudding head. Need this one. There we go. So just light tapping on there, and we'll stamp that one again. You want to try and get over the top of it if you can. So you will get like this textured look. With these distinctive style stamps. Looks about right. Okay, and then the other thing we need is some extra leaves. I've already cut some, and we're going to be doing that with the Pretty Peacock. So we'll pop Golden Glow away just for a moment or two. I don't think we need it again, but you never know. So we'll switch to Pretty Peacock now, and same thing with the with the leaves. There's a solid image. Now this is a much more well used ink pad. So far less ink in this, and you'll see that this one stamps really quite nicely. There we go. Really nice image on that. So just, you know, having a really inky ink pad isn't always the best with those, but that's a way to get around it. Okay, let's die cut. So these just sit over the top. Just take a moment to line those up. We'll need the big one over here. They're not too bad to line up either, actually. So you see there's like a sort of pointy leaf. That's not a leaf, that's a petal. So that's not too bad to line up. So that can go on the plate ready. And then we need this one. So we'll do this one first. It's a bit close to the other die. You never want to put dies on top of each other. That's one surefire way of damaging them. There's not a lot that can damage a die, but that is one of those things. So this is so we're just cutting out these flowers now, and actually, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll do it with the next round because I've got to do this twice anyway. So as you can see on the sample card, that cherry cobbler on the roses, not cherry cobbler, real red, that is, stamped nice and reasonably cleanly. So we need to cut the this other smaller flower again. So let's just reposition this die. Oh, excuse me. Hay fever creeping back. I mostly got rid of it, but just seems to be just creeping back a little bit. And oh, I've already done that one, haven't I? Yeah, that's right, that's fine. And I've already cut some pretty peacock there. It's just a scrap. Happens to be the two-tone cardstock, but use the A4 stuff, whatever. Doesn't really matter, as long as it's the right colour for what you want. So we've already got that cut as well. Love stylish shapes. Use them all the time. And those of you who watch regularly will know that. Okay, so I've got all those pieces, and the last thing we need to do is make sure we're going to heat emboss our sentiment. So it's quite an involved card. This is one that you give to someone you really like, right? But I think it's going to be worth it. Well, I hope it is anyway. Hope you like it. So a bit of anti-static powder there. And we'll use Versamark ink. In fact, there's a couple of ways we could do this. I'm going to stamp this at this end. So we could, what I call double die cut this, and make the sentiment banner a more appropriate size for the sentiment. Or we could leave it as it is. Use the little tweezers here and kind of tuck it in behind some of the flowers or something. So we'll see how it looks, and then if we need to, we can always cut it down, either with scissors or with the actual die. So just make sure all that excess powder is out of the way. So we'll be switching on the heat tool. It is noisy, so I won't be talking while that's on, but if you don't like the noise, do just mute the video. Otherwise, hang fire, and I'll be back in a moment. Right, I'm hoping that I was holding that in shot so you could see it go from that dull powder to that lovely shiny gold. And you'll notice I did heat it from behind the cardstock, and you do often get a smoother look on your embossing if you do that. Okay, right, I think we've got all the bits now. Let's put it together. Okay, so like I say, we'll and then the excess anti-static, you can just wipe that away. So we'll see now how this looks. And the other thing we're going to do is we'll give these a little bit of shape. So I'm just going to use like a ball tool or anything you like, just to sort of curl the edges of these petals a little bit. Just so they've got a bit of texture really. Okay, and the leaves are easy to bend in your fingers, so you can just sort of curl those a little bit. Oops, like so. Flowers need dimensionals on the back, and I'm only doing one. I don't need any more than that. And by doing just one, you've got plenty of wriggle room and places to tuck things in. Okay, so we'll pop these down where we want these to go, sort of cascading across the bottom here. Oh, kind of different angles so that they look different even though they're the same shape. Could have done some extra leaves, but we won't fuss with that now. But you could totally get away with some extra bits and pieces on this, I think. These are going down just with some glue. So you've got raised elements and flat elements. Okay, but you could probably get away with a couple more of those here and there. And then it's just, what do we do with this? I think we do need to cut it down, don't we? Okay, so double die cutting then. So if you push your die back on over the top of this, even easier with things with stitching, because it kind of locks into place. So just adjust that. Okay, and you only need to cut that end. You can tape it if you want, if you think it's going to move on you, or you can just be brave like me and just do it. So you just need to clip that end off and you'll get the same width of the shape but shorter. Okay, which means we can pop that in. Yeah, that's better cut down. So this is going to need a bit more support because it is the two-tone cardstock, so I'm going to pop a little bit of extra on there towards the middle so that it's not trying to fight with the cardstock frame that we've got on there. We could have popped up the frame and given it a bit more oomph that way as well. So hopefully that's something like straight. Okay, and of course we've got coordinating embellishments with these colours. Often do. I haven't used them yet on the cards. I don't think I've got them. Okay, I've got them. Of course, what I've done is I've stacked all these stamp blocks all over the place, and now I can't get into the drawer. So let me just find those. So you've got the flat pearls like we had. Well, they're not the flat pearls actually. They're a bit better than the flip. They're similar to the flat pearls that we had with the previous set of colours. There's only 2 sizes this time, but we've also got these butterflies. How cute are those? I'm not going to use them today, but you get all the in colours plus white, and you get big ones and little ones. Love it. They're so cute. So we can, so this is the way I use my this is the way I open my embellishment packet. So I whiz up the side. Somebody shared this tip many years ago, and I don't know who it was, but I thought it was fantastic. And so that they're easier to get in and out, I snip off this flap. That can be recycled because the name's still there, so I'm not going to miss anything, and I can see exactly what I've got. And we can use our golden glow, or anything really, to be honest with you. It don't have to be the golden glow ones. Okay, so now ordinarily I'd want 3 different sizes of these, but we've only got the 2, so we'll just pop those in here just to sort of highlight the sentiment a little bit, and those can just go in like sideways on there, making that look really hard. Normally they just slip straight in. There we go. It's because you're watching me. Okay, so there we go. Golden glow. I'm gonna love it. So I left the frame larger on this one. I had much more open space. I think the tighter frame does look nice and sort of more concise and brings the design a little bit more together. But either way, really nice. That's why I did the extra flower, you see. Either way, really, really cool. I'm going to like using those frames for sure, and I think you'll be seeing lots of golden glow around. Really lovely colour. Okay, so that's it from me. So don't forget to check out the description for all the products used today, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye bye.